Welcome into this edition of 3 Point Stance brought to you by Mountain Dew. I'm Jessica Benson in for Megan Triplett this morning and John Roser. What's up? Crazy weekend of sports that we just had.
Yeah, crazy weekend. I watched football, basketball, G League basketball, UFC, boxing. Yeah, everything. I probably would have watched cricket if it was on too. We'll start with the Grizzlies because you got to talk about that Grizzaster in our nation's capital on Friday night. I was calling the hustle game. So tell me what I need to know. What happened?
Oh, well, what really happened was defensively, there wasn't a whole lot there for the Grizzlies. And it's a game that feels like it was eternity ago on Friday night. And if you're the Grizzlies, you kind of just want to put it in the rear view, similar to what happened against the Miami Heat last weekend. And it came out where the Grizzlies just looked flat. And like you looked at the Wizards, they shot 71% in that first quarter, and still the Grizzlies only trailed by 4. And you're like, certainly something's going to trail off when it comes to Washington. And it didn't, because frankly, they were shooting a super high percentage because they were getting simple shots, clean looks, rolling downhill, hitting threes. As a team, they were really successful at the 3-point line, and Bradley Beal didn't hit a single triple. So it was that kind of night for the Grizzlies. You got to bounce back tonight. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves coming. You have 3 home games this week to try to get things right and bounce back in hopefully a similar fashion that you did against the Denver Nuggets last week.
Yeah, let's hope so. The Timberwolves team, they come in reeling a little bit, a couple losses in a row, 3 in a row, but they do have Anthony Edwards, they do have Karl Anthony Towns, they do have D'Angelo Russell. I really have no use for Russell and Towns, but I do know they can have games every now and then where they're freaking awesome, and we do know Towns puts up numbers. I love Edwards. To me, if there's no better interview in the entire NBA than Anthony Edwards. You're at least going to laugh anytime you interview him. And no, so it should be. I know people look Monday night Timberwolves, blah, but like this should be a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fun weekend of football, a chaotic weekend of football in the NFL. Just some stupid, weird teams that lost that should have won. You always ask me how I have 2 teams in the AFC, and it is literally 4 days like Sunday when I get a big, surprising Broncos win over the Cowboys, and the Bills lay the ultimate stinker, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was the Jaguars' first win on American soil since the first week of last season. And it all came down to Josh Allen, but not the quarterback Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, as we had a little Josh Allen experience.
Yeah, the kid who played at Kentucky. A lot of Josh Allen action going on Sunday in Buffalo, Jacksonville, but it was not the Josh Allen we expected it to be, the one that was making the plays. So, the NFL, again, this was the ultimate. The NFL had kind of made sense to me this year. Like, I kind of understood everything. Like, I can see that happening. It's not too crazy. But then, the Titans beat the Rams without Derrick Henry. And then the Broncos beat the Cowboys, who the Cowboys now are at full strength, and they beat the Cowboys like easily. They were up 30-0, 30-16 or just 2 garbage time touchdowns. So, and then you have the Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills, and the quarterback Josh Allen looked horrible. And and then you have the freaking Cincinnati Bengals, who can blow out the Ravens one week. Then they lose to the Jets, which I didn't see them losing to the Jets, but I thought it could be a close game because you had this week Cleveland. So you've got that Jets game sandwiched between 2 division games. And then they freaking get blown out by the Browns, and the Browns look like the team that we expected them to look like at the beginning of the season. Maybe it's just all it takes is getting rid of Odell Beckham Jr. because he's one of the most insanely overrated players in the NFL, has been for the last several years. He's made some one-handed catches, but that was like 6 years ago. Getting excited about Odell Beckham Jr. right now, there's no reason for fans to get excited about that. It's about my level of excitement when the 49ers signed Josh Norman. Like, wait, are we getting Josh Norman from like 7 years ago? Oh, we're not? Okay, what does it matter? The NFL doesn't make sense.
We will see who ultimately gets OBJ when he is cleared to go on waivers, and we'll see what team picks him up. When it came to college football, all we know is that Georgia's legit. Georgia's good. Their defense is amazing. And after that, it's like, I'm not really sure what's going on. Alabama barely beats LSU. Ohio State barely beats Nebraska. Cincinnati barely beats Tulsa. You had 2 unbeatens fall in Michigan State and Wake Forest. And nothing feels clear when it comes to who outside of Georgia is the next best team in the country.
Well, we usually are always saying it's It's like it's Alabama is, Alabama and Clemson and then everybody else. This year, it feels like it's Georgia and everybody else. I still think Alabama's the second best team in the country. Maybe Texas A&M is awesome. Maybe they beat Alabama. They've been rolling since, and that Auburn team's pretty good. And they 3-3 at halftime, and they win 20-3. Maybe Texas A&M's pretty good now. The rest of it, Ohio State. Look, the Stroud kid at quarterback. The three defenses they played that are not bad, that are at good defenses, are Oregon, Penn State, and Nebraska. We saw Nebraska's defense give Oklahoma trouble too. And he doesn't look that good. The higher the competition gets, the harder the defense he's playing, he gets worse. So I don't see it with Ohio State unless Travion Henderson, the freshman running back, is just unstoppable at some point. He can run for 400 yards. It's Georgia. It's Georgia and everybody else. I think Alabama's probably the team who has the best chance to beat them. And Bryce Young probably is going to win the Heisman because I don't really think there's anybody else. Maybe Kenneth Walker from Michigan State, but like you said, they just lost to Purdue. So yeah, it's Georgia and everybody else, but I think Alabama probably could beat Georgia. It is Stetson Bennett we're talking about.
Cincinnati is still unbeaten, and it doesn't help though that Memphis beat SMU over the weekend, because any chance Cincinnati had in bolstering that strength of schedule, if perhaps SMU was able to sneak into the CFP rankings, they were still ranked in the AP. They didn't make that first round of CFP rankings, but Memphis takes care of them. Memphis gets a big win. And for Ryan Silverfield and that group, it was a gutsy win. It was a huge defensive performance. Seth Hennigan back in action. You get some trick plays along the way. It was a fun day out at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Arena.
They really got to get it.
Bowl. Yeah, they do. The only thing we do, here's one thing that is for certain. If Memphis is a home underdog, you take Memphis.
There you go. Time and time again. John Roser, I will see you tonight at the Grizzlies game. This has been this week's 3-Point Stance presented by Mountain Dew.